Ever since I started shooting film, I have been intrigued by the panoramic format. A lot of this interest stems from my inner filmmaker and love for the 2.35 and wider motion picture aspect ratios. Recently, a super nice guy by the name of Ashton reached out to me and asked if I'd like to borrow his Fuji TX-1 to shoot with for a day or two. And of course I said yes. Now the Fuji TX-1 is a 35mm rangefinder camera that has the ability to expose frames by the dimension of 24 by 65mm as opposed to the standard 24 by 36mm. This results in an image that is roughly 1.8 times wider than a usual 35mm negative. Now, if any of you are familiar with the Hasselblad Xpan, it is essentially the same camera. It was released in 1998, and it was a joint project between Fuji and Hasselblad. Just Fuji marketed it as the TX-1, and then Hasselblad marketed it as the Xpan. Now, I thought the best way to put this camera through its paces would be to take it on a little family outing up to a place called Sunrise, which has beautiful views of Mount Rainier and the surrounding landscapes. Alright, so we stopped off on the drive up to Sunrise at a place called Sunrise Point. It's like a 360-degree panoramic kind of view of all of the Cascades. It's pretty amazing. The mountain is very beautiful, but what I'm enjoying the most is all these meadows and the wildflowers. I haven't really been in terrain like this that much, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I want to mess around with some vertical compositions as well. Panoramic vertical photos can look pretty interesting sometimes. I love the way the vertical panos turned out. Although they are not ideal for sharing online, I think they would make for some very cool prints. Alright, so we've hiked about 1.5-ish miles. Pretty mellow trail. We went by this little lake, just got done with the first roll of Portra 400. And I'm gonna load up another roll of Portra 400 right now. And I think we're gonna hike back to Sunrise via Frozen Lake, so we'll go by another lake, which will be pretty cool, and apparently there's some snow up there. So looking forward to that, but yeah, I'll load up this film and continue on. Apparently I didn't expose a lot of these photos properly because a lot of the originals had the classic kind of film fade over them and lacked a lot of color richness. I was also forced to shoot in the middle of the day again, which is obviously not ideal, and I was left with some very unusable images, but overall, most were correctable. This is my favorite photo from the day, and honestly one of my favorite images that I've shot recently. At first glance, it looks like you're looking at a miniature world almost. The mixed lighting and small alpine trees amplify the texture of the terrain and makes it feel like a realm within a video game. The way the landscape drops off in the upper left part of the frame also helps create the illusion that this is some sort of floating sandbox. Also in the top left is a small lake that accompanies numerous forms of topography that are all crammed into this American West styled utopia. So it's pretty sweet. This view, which kind of is over the other side of the ridge. We've only been looking towards Mount Rainier, but looking in the opposite direction. You can see Mount Baker, Whitehorse, Glacier Peak. Baker and Glacier Peak are pretty prominent, which looks really cool. The other cool thing is there's a little mountain goat down here, down by this little snow patch. So pretty cool views over here. Another absolutely insane view, so I'm gonna bust out another roll of Portra, of course. This is another favorite from the day. In certain circumstances, I feel like the pano format can almost deliver a tilt shift type feel to photos. Both the lodge and the mountains seem quite small when in fact they're both pretty large, relatively speaking. The colors are beautiful, and the wildflowers in the meadow in the foreground definitely give this image a dreamy feel. On our way out of Sunrise, we even caught a quick glimpse of a young black bear, which was definitely a unique experience. Well, here I am yet again in the Safeway parking lot in Enumclaw in severe back pain, but it's all good. I got about 1,500 milligrams of rapid release Tylenol just firing through my bloodstream right now, so we should be chilling. I got about 19 more shots, or like 18 more shots on this roll of Portra 400 in the Fuji right now, and I think I'm gonna cruise around Enumclaw again during dusk hours, shoot some more photos of the farmlands out here, because I think it'll look amazing on panoramic format, especially during this golden hour that we're about to have. So it's like 90 degrees. I might get heat stroke right now, but life rips, man. Life just rips. I stopped here to photograph these hay bales. This was actually a shot that I had in mind earlier this morning, but I didn't have time to grab it. I'm gonna die by getting hit by a car on the side of the road one day, trying to take film photos. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to go out. After photographing a few farms, I walked down the road to hopefully capture some horses in this pasture with Mount Rainier in the background. I was approached by the owner of this farm, a man named Ruben, who was incredibly friendly. We talked for a little while, and he even called the horses over to our side of the pasture so that I could take some better photos. And then he offered to take my photo with his horses, which was pretty funny. But it was a really cool experience because I feel like in today's day and age, people are more suspicious of photographers and kind of tend to assume the worst whenever there's a camera pointed in their direction. But Ruben took the opposite approach, and as a result, I was able to make some of the most meaningful pictures that I've taken recently. And it was incredibly rewarding to kind of get an inside look into his life, somebody whom 5 minutes prior I didn't even know existed. It definitely served as a reminder that even today, photography can still bring people together. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We had a couple horses when I was a kid, so haven't been around them in a long time, but I used to ride them a little bit, so yeah, it's very cool. Thank you, by the way.
No, you're welcome.
It's very nice. All right, well, no, thank you. Appreciate that. Have a good night. I shot a lot more photos than I was planning on shooting right there, just because he called the horses over and I had to take advantage of the opportunity, so I only got maybe 5 or 6 more photos left. So we're gonna space them out as the sun continues to go down and wrap up this day. I got a hot air balloon up in the sky right now. I think I have to go try to hunt down an epic photo of it potentially. I've just straight up stopped in the middle of the road to try to get a picture of this hot air balloon. I figure traffic can wait, but this picture cannot. So that wraps up my time spent with the Fuji TX-1. Again, huge thanks to Ashton for lending it to me. I had a blast shooting with this camera, and I can definitely see myself making the investment in a panoramic system sometime in the future, even though it is a very easy way to blow up your bank account. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to check out more of my work, you can follow me on Instagram or head over to my website. And if you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing. That helps a ton. As always, I appreciate the support, and I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy out there. Catch y'all next week. Peace.